Hey everyone, welcome back to English Elevate Express. I'm Sarah, here with my co-host and friend Alex.
Hey guys, excited to chat with you all today. Today we're diving into a topic everyone can relate to, jobs. Whether you're just starting out or have been working for years, there's always something interesting to talk about when it comes to work life.
That's right, we'll be talking about everything from finding the right job to the challenges, the highs, and let's be real, the lows. So Alex, how's your job going these days?
It's funny. I've been in my role for a couple of years now, and I feel like I'm just hitting that groove where things make sense, but at the same time, I'm craving something new. Ever feel like that?
Oh, definitely. I think a lot of people go through that comfort zone phase. It's where you feel settled, but maybe a bit too comfortable. What exactly do you do again, Alex? I know it has to do with marketing, right?
Yep. I work as a digital marketing specialist for a tech company. Basically, I help our team reach new customers online. It's a mix of strategy, creativity, and a bit of data analysis. Not as glamorous as some might think, but it's rewarding. How about you? Are you still with the same company?
Yeah, I'm still at the design agency. I'm a senior graphic designer now, so I get to lead projects and work closely with clients, which is fun. But let's be honest, it's not always smooth sailing.
Oh, I get that. So, what's the biggest challenge in your job?
I'd say managing client expectations is one of the trickiest parts. Sometimes clients want things that aren't realistic, or they keep changing their minds. It's a bit like herding cats. And then there's always the pressure to be super creative.
Oh, totally. I feel that in marketing too. It's like you want to be creative, but you also have to follow the data, the metrics, and what's proven to work. And sometimes those things don't align.
Right. It's almost like finding a balance between creativity and practicality. Do you ever think about switching careers?
Sometimes. I enjoy marketing, but part of me wonders if I'd like something more hands on, like product management or even going back to school for psychology. Have you ever thought of changing fields?
Honestly, yeah. I've always been drawn to photography. It feels more personal than design work. But it's risky, right? There's that fear of leaving stability behind.
Totally get that. I think a lot of us feel that way, especially if you've been doing the same type of work for years. The security of a steady job is hard to give up.
Absolutely. I think we're both at that point where we're curious about what's next. Maybe it's about finding ways to grow in our current roles. Like, have you thought of asking for more responsibility or a promotion?
Actually, I have. I talked to my manager recently about a potential leadership role in the team. I'm a bit nervous, though. What if I can't handle it?
Oh, I think you do great. You're really organized and you know your stuff. Sometimes the fear is just that, a fear. Have you ever asked for a promotion before?
Not really. I guess it feels awkward, like I'm bragging. But I know it's part of growing, right? You have to advocate for yourself.
Exactly. I think it's important, especially if you know you're adding value to the company. Sometimes managers just need that reminder that you're ready for the next step.
True. And speaking of value, how do you handle criticism at work? In a creative job like yours, feedback must be constant.
Oh, it is. And honestly, it used to really bother me, but I've learned to separate my work from my self-worth. Feedback is there to make the work better, not a reflection of who I am. What about you?
I like that mindset. For me, I've learned to ask for specific feedback. I realize that just hearing, this could be better, doesn't help. But if someone says, try changing this approach, it gives me something to work with.
Oh, it is. And honestly, it used to really bother me, but I've learned to separate my work from my self-worth. Feedback is there to make the work better, not a reflection of who I am. What about you?
I think my main goal is to keep growing my skills and maybe even lead a team if things go well. I'd love to learn more about the psychology behind consumer behavior. How about you?
For me, it's about building a portfolio with some personal work, maybe exploring photography a bit more. And I'd love to mentor junior designers. It feels good to pass on what I've learned.
That's awesome. I think we all reach a point where sharing what we know becomes part of our purpose. It's fulfilling in a whole different way.
Absolutely. So, to wrap up, what advice would you give someone just starting out in their job?
I'd say don't rush it. The first few years are all about learning, and not just skills, but learning what you like and don't like. How about you?
I'd say don't be afraid to speak up. Whether it's asking questions, sharing ideas, or even asking for feedback, it all helps you grow. And remember, every job is a stepping stone. So, Alex, we talked about career goals and feedback, but I have to ask, what's been your proudest moment at work so far?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think it would have to be when I ran my first solo campaign. It was for a new product launch, and I had full control from planning to execution. I was so nervous, but seeing it succeed was amazing. What about you?
That sounds awesome. For me, it was probably when one of my designs won an award. It was a small, local thing, but still, seeing my work recognized outside of my company felt really special. It's like validation that the late nights and revisions paid off.
I totally get that. Recognition outside of work feels different, doesn't it? It's like the world is acknowledging your talent, not just your workplace.
Exactly. I think a lot of people crave that, to know their work matters beyond just the paycheck. Speaking of which, what's your take on work-life balance? Do you feel like you have it under control?
Ooh, the classic debate. To be honest, I struggle with it sometimes. In digital marketing, things move so fast, and deadlines are tight. There are weeks when I work late every day, but I try to make up for it by keeping weekends free. What about you?
Oh, I can relate. Creative work tends to blur boundaries because inspiration doesn't work on a schedule, right? But I've learned to set limits, like no checking emails after a certain time. It's a small rule, but it really helps me decompress.
That's smart. Boundaries are so important, but it's easy to ignore them, especially when you want to do well. Do you ever find yourself overthinking work outside of office hours?
Yes, more often than I'd like to admit. It's like my brain has a hard time turning off design mode, but I'm working on it. I try to switch gears by going for a walk or focusing on a hobby. Do you have any tricks to unwind?
I do, actually. I've gotten into cooking lately. It's a nice way to unplug. I'll put on a podcast or some music and just focus on making something. Speaking of podcasts, besides English Elevate Express, of course, what's one you'd recommend?
Nice plug there. I'm into a mix of creative and motivational podcasts. How I Built This is one I go back to often. Hearing people talk about building something from scratch is inspiring. How about you?
I love how I built this. For me, it's the Daily Stoic. It's more about personal growth, but I find the mindset advice useful for work too. It's all about focusing on what you can control.
That's a great point. Mindset really is half the battle in any job. Sometimes just reminding yourself that things are temporary can keep you going during tough weeks.
Absolutely. So, we've talked about work highs and lows, but do you have any funny work stories? Something that just makes you laugh looking back?
Oh, I have one. So, I was doing a presentation for a client over Zoom, and I didn't realize I had this goofy filter on. I was a potato the whole time. The client laughed it off, thankfully, but I was so embarrassed. How about you?
That's hilarious. Okay, mine was also a Zoom mishap. My cat decided to make an appearance during a very serious team call, and she just sat on my keyboard. She managed to end the meeting for everyone. Luckily, my team found it funny, but it was a moment of panic.
Pets always have the best timing, don't they? But I feel like moments like that remind us to not take things so seriously. It's good to have a laugh, even at work.
So true. I think at the end of the day, work is just a part of our lives, not the whole thing. Speaking of which, do you have any big plans outside of work for the coming year?
I do. I've been saving up to travel. I want to go on a photography trip, somewhere with a lot of natural beauty, like Iceland. I think it would be refreshing and a nice break from work. What about you?
That sounds amazing. For me, it's less about travel and more about hobbies. I'm thinking of taking a night class in psychology or something similar. It's just for fun, but I think it could give me a new perspective on things.
That sounds like a great idea. Learning something new can be so refreshing, and who knows, it might even inspire something in your work.
Exactly. Well, Sarah, it's been awesome chatting with you about all this, from work highs and lows to our funny Zoom stories.
So, Alex, let's get practical for a minute. If you had to give someone new to your field a tip on managing daily tasks, what would you say?
Great question. For me, it's all about organizing. I keep a priority board where I list all my tasks by deadline and importance. If something is urgent and important, it's in my top row. Then I have less urgent stuff in lower rows. It helps me visually see what needs my attention first. What's your go-to task management method?
I love the priority board idea. I actually use something similar, but digitally. I use a tool called Trello, where I create boards for each project. I color code the tasks based on priority and stage, like in progress or waiting on feedback. It's satisfying to move things to the completed list.
Oh, I know what you mean. Moving things to the done column is the best feeling. It's like a small win every time. I think finding ways to celebrate progress, even small wins, keeps motivation high.
Totally. I think a lot of people struggle with networking too. What's been your experience with it?
I used to think networking was just handing out business cards or LinkedIn requests, but now I see it as building genuine connections. My tip? Don't wait for a big event to start networking. Start small by connecting with coworkers in different departments. Once a week, I'll reach out to someone new for a quick coffee chat. How about you?
That's so smart, especially the internal networking approach. I used to find it intimidating too, but now I try to think of networking as making friends. I'll comment on someone's work or congratulate them on a project, even if it's just over email. And if I can, I'll attend a design conference to meet people in my field. Having a genuine interest in what others do makes it easier.
That's a great approach. Networking isn't just about getting a job or gaining something. It's about learning from each other. Speaking of learning, how do you handle skill building? Our fields are always changing, and it can be overwhelming to keep up.
Absolutely. It feels like there's always a new design tool or technique. I try to set aside one day a month just for learning. I'll take an online course, read a new book, or experiment with a design technique. It's like my own training day. Do you do anything similar?
Yes, I love that idea of a dedicated learning day. I keep a list of skills I want to improve on and try to tackle them one at a time. I'm currently working on analytics, so I spend a little time each week watching tutorials or reading articles. Breaking it down into smaller chunks keeps it manageable.
That's a good tip, especially for skills that feel intimidating. By the way, how do you handle work stress? Marketing sounds intense.
It definitely can be. I have a couple of strategies. I take mini breaks throughout the day, and I also set realistic daily goals. Instead of trying to complete everything, I focus on 3 main tasks. It keeps me from feeling overwhelmed. What about you?
For me, I try to set boundaries. I let myself log off fully at the end of the day. I also journal. It helps me process the day's challenges, even if it's just a few sentences. It's amazing how much lighter I feel after putting my thoughts on paper.
That's such a good habit. Reflection is underrated. I think a lot of people could benefit from these tips. Even small adjustments like setting boundaries or prioritizing tasks can make a big difference in work life.
Absolutely. And hey, for everyone listening, remember that every career journey has its ups and downs. The important thing is to keep learning, adapting, and finding joy in the little things.
Here's a list of questions and answers related to the topic, perfect for a Q&A segment on your podcast or as takeaways for listeners.
How do I figure out what career path is right for me?
Finding the right career path is often a journey of self-discovery, and it can take time. Start by reflecting on what you enjoy doing in your free time. What kind of activities energize you? Do you prefer working independently or with others? List out your strengths, skills, and values, and see where they intersect with potential careers. You can also try a skills assessment test or a career quiz for more ideas. Additionally, reaching out to professionals in fields that interest you can provide valuable insight. Schedule informational interviews, shadow someone in a role you're curious about, or even volunteer in different environments. It's okay to explore and adjust over time. Your career path doesn't have to be linear. Think of it as a combination of what you enjoy, what you're good at, and what fits your lifestyle.
How do I stay motivated in a job that's starting to feel routine?
When work becomes routine, it's often a sign that you've mastered your role and need a new challenge. One way to stay motivated is by setting small, personal goals within your current role, like learning a new skill, taking on a side project, or improving an existing process. Adding variety can reignite your interest in the job. You could also consider setting up a conversation with your manager to discuss new responsibilities or growth opportunities. If you feel comfortable, express your desire for a new challenge. Sometimes, even a minor shift in focus or responsibility can add excitement back into your day. Lastly, reflect on the impact of your work. Knowing how your role fits into the bigger picture or benefits others can be a powerful motivator.
What's a good way to manage multiple projects and deadlines?
Managing multiple projects effectively requires prioritization and time management skills. Begin by listing all your tasks and deadlines, then categorize them by urgency and importance. Tools like the Eisenhower matrix, urgent versus important, can help you decide what needs immediate attention and what can wait. For a practical approach, consider breaking down each project into smaller tasks and setting deadlines for each part. Use digital tools like Trello, Asana, or even a simple spreadsheet to keep track of progress. Many people find it helpful to block off specific time in their calendars for focused work sessions on each project. Prioritize completing high-impact tasks early in the day when energy levels are high. And don't forget to regularly check your list and adjust as new priorities come up.
How can I handle constructive criticism without taking it personally?
Receiving feedback can feel challenging, especially if you're deeply invested in your work. Try reframing feedback as an opportunity to grow rather than a reflection of your self-worth. When you receive criticism, listen actively, take notes, and avoid reacting immediately. Often, it helps to take a moment to reflect on the feedback before responding. Ask clarifying questions if needed, and focus on understanding what specific changes are being suggested. Thank the person for their input, and let them know you appreciate the chance to improve. Over time, viewing feedback as a tool for growth will help you accept it more readily. Remember, feedback is about improving the work, not a judgment on your abilities or character.
How can I effectively network if I'm not naturally outgoing?
Networking doesn't have to be intimidating, even if you're more introverted. Start small by connecting with coworkers in different departments or attending smaller, informal company events. If you're at a larger event, aim to talk to just one or two people instead of trying to meet everyone. Another strategy is to reach out on LinkedIn or by email with a personalized message. Instead of focusing on selling yourself, be genuinely curious about others. Ask about their work, their experiences, or their career journey. This approach can make conversations feel more like friendship building and less like formal networking. Also, remember that following up is key. Sending a quick thank you message or sharing a relevant article with a new contact shows you value the relationship.
What's the best way to manage work stress?
Stress management starts with setting boundaries between work and personal life. One effective technique is the shutdown ritual. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to review your tasks and set a plan for the following day. Once you've done that, mentally log off from work. Throughout the day, try taking short 5 to 10 minute breaks every hour or so. This prevents burnout and allows you to reset. Engaging in hobbies, exercise, or even just spending time with friends or family after work can also help manage stress. If stress is coming from workload, don't hesitate to speak with your manager. Ask if they can help prioritize tasks or redistribute some responsibilities. Sometimes just having that conversation can reduce pressure.
How can I keep learning in my field without feeling overwhelmed?
Continuous learning doesn't mean you have to tackle everything at once. Focus on one skill or topic at a time and break your learning down into manageable parts. You could dedicate just 30 minutes each week to watching a tutorial, reading an article, or practicing a new skill. Consider setting aside a day each month for a learning day. This could be reading, attending a workshop, or even just practicing on your own. A learning routine like this prevents overwhelm and keeps your growth steady. Also, seek out communities or forums in your field. Engaging with others who share your interests can make learning feel collaborative and less isolating.
What's one thing I should do early in my career?
Early in your career, focus on gaining a broad range of experiences and building a strong network. Don't be afraid to try different tasks or projects, even if they're outside of your job description. The first few years of work are all about exploration and figuring out what you like and don't like. Building relationships is also crucial. Make an effort to connect with your colleagues and mentors in your field, as they can provide valuable guidance and open doors for future opportunities. Showing enthusiasm and being proactive in learning can also make a strong impression, setting the foundation for growth.
How do I ask for a promotion or raise without feeling awkward?
When asking for a promotion or raise, Preparation is key. Start by tracking your achievements over time. Quantifiable results, such as revenue you helped generate or projects you led, are especially valuable. Gather evidence of how your work has contributed to the company's success and how you've gone beyond your current responsibilities. Schedule a meeting with your manager specifically for this discussion. Approach the conversation confidently, but remain professional and respectful. Outline your accomplishments, express your interest in taking on more responsibilities, and ask if there are specific goals they'd like to see you meet. Keep it solution-focused and frame it as a step toward growing within the company, which shows you're thinking about both your future and the company's.
How can I find work-life balance when work demands are high?
Finding work-life balance is a matter of setting boundaries and prioritizing. Start by defining a clear endpoint for your workday. Having a specific time when you log off helps maintain balance. During the workday, focus on high-priority tasks and try not to take on more than you can handle. If demands are high, communicate with your manager about your workload and ask if there's flexibility to adjust priorities. Consider delegating tasks where possible. Remember, balance is about sustainability, not perfection. It's okay to have a busy week now and then, but overall, make time for activities that recharge you. Whether it's exercise, reading, or family time, set aside non-work hours and honor them as part of your routine.
How can I make a good impression in a new job?
Making a good impression in a new job starts with demonstrating a positive attitude and a willingness to learn. Show up on time, stay organized, and be proactive in asking questions. Don't be afraid to take notes during training sessions. It shows you're dedicated to understanding the role. A great first step is to set up short one-on-one meetings with your new colleagues or team members. This helps you understand everyone's role and start building rapport. It's also helpful to familiarize yourself with the company's core values and goals so you can align your work to them. By actively participating in meetings, being reliable with your tasks, and bringing positive energy, you'll establish a strong reputation early on. Remember, small things like following up on tasks or sharing updates on your progress can make a big difference in how you're perceived.
How do I find a mentor and build a good relationship with them?
Finding a mentor starts with identifying someone whose skills, experience, or approach to work you admire. Look within your company or professional network for individuals whose career paths inspire you. Once you have someone in mind, reach out with a polite and specific request to connect. Mention why you'd like to learn from them and suggest a casual coffee chat or a short meeting. Building a strong mentor relationship is about respecting their time and showing commitment to your growth. Come prepared to these meetings with thoughtful questions or topics you want advice on, and be open to feedback. Remember to show appreciation for their guidance and occasionally update them on your progress. This shows you value their insights and keeps the relationship mutually rewarding.
How can I overcome imposter syndrome at work?
Imposter syndrome, the feeling that you're not as capable as others perceive you to be, is common, especially when starting a new role or tackling unfamiliar challenges. Begin by acknowledging that these feelings are normal and often come from a desire to do well. Remind yourself of your qualifications and past achievements. Keeping a list of accomplishments can help you see evidence of your abilities. Reframe self-doubt by focusing on growth rather than perfection. If you're feeling overwhelmed by a task, break it down into smaller steps and tackle each one with confidence. Talking to a trusted coworker or mentor can also give you perspective and reassurance. Remember, everyone experiences self-doubt at times, and it's okay to not know everything. Embrace it as part of the learning process and keep pushing forward.
How can I set goals that actually help me progress in my career?
Setting actionable career goals starts with the SMART method. Goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Rather than setting a broad goal like improve my skills, be specific. Complete an advanced Excel course by the end of the month. This gives you a clear target and a timeline. Break down each big goal into smaller milestones and celebrate your progress as you go. For example, if your goal is to get promoted, you might first focus on building relationships with senior team members, taking on challenging projects, and learning a new skill that aligns with the higher role. Review your goals periodically and adjust as needed based on your progress and feedback. Keeping a goal journal or log helps you stay on track and provides a record of your accomplishments over time.
What's the best way to handle a difficult coworker?
Dealing with a difficult coworker can be challenging, but maintaining professionalism is key. Start by observing the situation objectively. Try to understand if there's a specific pattern to the difficult interactions. Sometimes misunderstandings or differences in communication styles can be the root of the problem. If the behavior continues, approach the person privately and express your perspective using I statements to avoid sounding accusatory. For example, I noticed we've had some misunderstandings on projects, and I'd like to find a way to work more smoothly together. Keep the conversation focused on collaboration and finding solutions. If the situation doesn't improve, consider seeking guidance from a manager or HR, but make sure you've tried to address it personally first. Throughout the process, maintain a respectful and professional demeanor to avoid escalating tensions.
How do I balance personal projects or a side hustle with a full-time job?
Balancing a side project or side hustle with a full-time job requires careful planning and time management. Start by setting specific hours for your side project and stick to them, even if it's just a couple of hours in the evening or on weekends. Having a set schedule helps you stay consistent without sacrificing your main job's performance. It's also essential to set realistic goals for your side project to avoid burnout. Break down your tasks into manageable steps and set deadlines to keep yourself accountable. Consider delegating or outsourcing small tasks if it fits your budget. Remember to set boundaries and prioritize rest. A balanced life is key to sustaining both your main job and your side project over the long term.
What's the best way to approach learning a new skill for work?
Start by identifying the specific skill you want to develop and how it will benefit your role. Then, gather resources that fit your learning style, such as online courses, books, or tutorials. Breaking the skill into smaller, focused tasks can make it feel less overwhelming. For example, if you're learning a programming language, start with the basics and set a goal for completing specific exercises or projects. Schedule regular practice sessions to build consistency and track your progress along the way. Applying the new skill in real-work situations, even on a small scale, can accelerate your learning and help solidify your understanding. Don't be afraid to seek feedback from coworkers or mentors. They may have insights or tips to help you improve.
How can I make the most of performance reviews?
Performance reviews are a valuable opportunity to reflect on your progress and plan for growth. Before the review, prepare a list of your recent accomplishments, along with any challenges you faced and how you handled them. Make sure to tie your achievements to how they benefited the team or organization, as this shows the value you bring. During the review, actively listen to feedback and ask for specific examples if there are areas you need to improve. Take notes and ask about additional resources or opportunities that could help you grow. Be proactive by setting clear goals for the next review period and asking for any actionable advice on how to achieve them. Follow up after the review with a thank you email and mention how you plan to implement any feedback you received.
How can I improve my public speaking skills for work presentations?
Improving public speaking skills takes practice and preparation. Start by knowing your material well. The better you understand it, the more confident you'll feel. Break down your presentation into key points and practice speaking them out loud, either in front of a mirror or to a friend. This will help you get comfortable with the flow of your content. It's also helpful to focus on your pacing and tone. Many people tend to speak too quickly when they're nervous, so practice slowing down and taking pauses between ideas. Record yourself or get feedback from someone you trust to identify areas for improvement. Lastly, visualize a positive outcome before presenting. The more you practice and put yourself in public speaking situations, the more natural it will feel.
How can I make my resume stand out when applying for jobs?
To make your resume stand out, focus on tailoring it to each job description. Start with a strong summary at the top that highlights your experience and career goals. Use clear, concise language and quantify your achievements wherever possible. For example, increased team productivity by 25% over 6 months. Numbers and specific results catch recruiters' attention. Organize your resume to highlight relevant skills and keep it clean and easy to read with bullet points and consistent formatting. Emphasize any unique or specialized skills that align with the job requirements. If you have relevant certifications or training, include these in a dedicated section. Lastly, include action verbs like led, implemented, or designed to show your active contributions.
How can I improve my time management at work?
Effective time management starts with prioritization. Begin each day by creating a list of tasks and categorizing them into levels of urgency and importance. Many people find that the 80-20 rule, where 20% of your activities produce 80% of your results, can help them focus on high-impact tasks first. To stay organized, consider using a time-blocking method where you assign specific times in your schedule for focused work on each task. This can minimize distractions and help you work more efficiently. Break down larger tasks into smaller steps and set mini deadlines for each, making it easier to stay on track and monitor progress. Don't forget to build in buffer time between tasks for flexibility and periodically review your schedule to adjust as priorities change.
How do I ask my manager for more responsibility at work?
Asking for more responsibility is a great way to show initiative and your interest in growth. Start by identifying areas within your team or department where you can add value. You might notice projects that could benefit from additional support or tasks that align with your skills. When you speak to your manager, come prepared with specific examples of how you've succeeded in your current role and mention any new skills you've developed. Explain that you're eager to take on additional challenges and suggest a few areas where you feel you could contribute effectively. Be sure to ask for their feedback and see if they have other recommendations for growth. This approach shows you're proactive, thoughtful, and open to collaboration.
What should I do if I'm feeling unchallenged in my current role?
Feeling unchallenged often means it's time to seek new learning opportunities or expand your responsibilities. Start by reflecting on your career goals and identifying skills you want to develop. Then look for ways to incorporate those interests into your current role. This could mean asking to lead a project, collaborating with other departments, or taking on a mentorship role with newer employees. If possible, have a conversation with your manager about your desire for growth and discuss potential new tasks or projects that align with both your interests and the team's goals. Additionally, consider pursuing professional development outside of work, such as online courses or certifications, which can give you fresh perspectives and keep you engaged.
How can I improve my email communication skills at work?
Effective email communication is all about clarity, conciseness, and professionalism. Start with a clear subject line that reflects the content of your message, making it easy for the recipient to prioritize. Begin your email with a polite greeting, followed by a concise introduction that outlines the purpose of the email. When writing the body, aim to be as clear as possible. Use bullet points or numbered lists to organize information and make key points easy to find. End with a polite closing and any required action steps, such as, "Please let me know if you have any questions," or "Looking forward to your feedback by Friday." Proofread for typos and clarity before sending, and keep in mind that tone can sometimes be misinterpreted, so aim for a respectful, professional voice.
How do I stay relevant in a rapidly changing industry?
To stay relevant, prioritize continuous learning. Begin by identifying key trends and new skills in your industry. Make it a habit to regularly read industry blogs, follow thought leaders, and attend webinars or conferences. Networking with others in your field can also keep you updated on new developments and provide different perspectives on trends. Consider setting aside time each week to focus on learning, whether it's through online courses, certifications, or hands-on practice. Staying adaptable is key in a rapidly changing industry. Be open to trying new tools or methods. If possible, take on projects at work that allow you to apply emerging technologies or practices. This not only keeps your skills sharp, but also positions you as an innovator within your company.
How do I make the transition to a leadership role?
Transitioning to a leadership role requires both skill and mindset shifts. Begin by focusing on soft skills like communication, empathy, and delegation. A great leader listens, empowers, and understands team members' strengths and motivations. Start by identifying these qualities in yourself and practicing them whenever possible. As you move into leadership, take on smaller leadership responsibilities such as leading meetings or coordinating team projects to build confidence and rapport with your team. It's also essential to get comfortable with giving constructive feedback and making decisions that impact others. To continue growing, seek out a mentor in a leadership role and consider taking management or leadership training. Demonstrating accountability and a willingness to support your team members will help you gain their trust and respect.
What's the best way to recover from a mistake at work?
Mistakes happen, and how you handle them can impact your professional reputation. Start by taking responsibility. Acknowledge the error to those affected and apologize if necessary. Avoid dwelling on the mistake or placing blame, as this can create more issues. Instead, focus on problem solving by identifying what went wrong and proposing solutions. Think of the experience as a learning opportunity. Reflect on the factors that led to the mistake and consider any process improvements that could prevent a similar error in the future. Once you've learned from the experience, move on without letting it impact your confidence. Mistakes can be valuable lessons, and your response shows your resilience and commitment to improvement.
How can I work effectively in a team with different personalities?
Working with diverse personalities can be challenging, but it also offers a unique opportunity for growth. Start by observing each team member's strengths and communication style. Try to find common ground and respect each person's perspective. This helps you understand their approach and work style. During team meetings, encourage open communication and be an active listener. Show respect for differing opinions and offer constructive feedback. If conflicts arise, address them calmly and privately. Focus on the team's shared goals rather than personal differences and find compromises where possible. Remember that building strong, respectful relationships with your teammates helps create a collaborative and productive environment.
How can I avoid burnout in a high-stress work environment?
Burnout prevention starts with self-care and setting boundaries. Take regular breaks throughout the day to recharge, even if it's just a quick walk or a few minutes of deep breathing. It's also essential to have a clear work-life boundary. Designate time outside of work hours for personal activities, relaxation, and time with friends or family. Create a realistic to-do list each day and focus on high-priority tasks, allowing yourself to end the day with a sense of accomplishment. If you feel overwhelmed, consider speaking with your manager about workload distribution or ask for support in prioritizing tasks. Taking care of your mental and physical health is essential to sustaining productivity and happiness in the long run.
How do I build confidence in my role, especially when I'm new?
Building confidence in a new role can take time, but small steps make a big difference. Start by setting achievable short-term goals to give yourself early wins. Celebrate each accomplishment, no matter how small. This reinforces positive behavior and helps you build momentum. Asking questions and seeking feedback early on can help clarify expectations and show your manager that you're engaged and eager to learn. Try to focus on your progress rather than perfection. Remember that everyone was new at some point, and gaining confidence is part of the journey. With each project and task you complete, you'll build the experience and assurance you need to thrive.
How do I negotiate a raise or promotion?
Negotiating a raise or promotion requires preparation and timing. Begin by researching typical salary ranges for your role and experience level within your industry. Keep a record of your achievements, including any measurable results that showcase your impact. If possible, quantify your contributions, such as increased sales, successful projects, or efficiency improvements. When you feel it's the right time, ideally after a positive performance review or project completion, schedule a meeting with your manager. Approach the conversation professionally, starting with your appreciation for the opportunity and then presenting your case. Be specific about your request, whether it's a particular percentage increase or a move to a higher role. If a raise isn't possible immediately, ask for a roadmap or timeline for achieving it, and be open to discussing other benefits, such as professional development opportunities.
How do I deal with micromanagement from my supervisor?
Micromanagement can feel stifling, but often it comes from a place of concern or a need for control. Start by understanding your supervisor's expectations and communication style. Proactively provide regular updates on your work, which may help alleviate their need to check in frequently. Keeping them in the loop about your progress and completion of tasks shows you're reliable and organized. If the micromanagement continues, consider having a tactful, positive conversation with your supervisor. Express appreciation for their guidance and let them know that you're eager to take on more responsibility independently. Focus on building their trust by delivering quality work consistently. Over time, as they see your reliability, they may feel more comfortable giving you greater autonomy.
How can I improve my networking skills?
Networking is essential for career growth, and it's a skill you can develop over time. Start by setting small goals, such as attending one networking event a month or reaching out to a new connection on LinkedIn each week. When networking, focus on listening more than speaking. Showing genuine interest in others' work and experiences builds meaningful connections. When you connect with someone, follow up with a personalized message. Mention something specific from your conversation, or ask a relevant question, which shows you were paying attention. Networking doesn't have to be transactional. Consider how you can provide value to others, such as sharing useful resources or introducing people in your network. Over time, you'll build a reputation as a reliable and engaged contact.
How do I make remote work productive and engaging?
Productive remote work starts with a structured routine and a dedicated workspace. Set specific work hours and create a morning ritual to transition into work mode. Using task management tools like Trello or Asana can help you organize tasks and prioritize effectively. Communication is key in remote work, so schedule regular check-ins with your team and use collaborative tools like Slack or Zoom to stay connected. Establish boundaries between work and personal life by shutting down your computer at the end of the day and engaging in after-work activities to recharge. Small things like virtual coffee breaks with colleagues or participating in team activities can also make remote work feel more engaging and reduce feelings of isolation.
How can I develop a growth mindset in my career?
A growth mindset focuses on seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. Start by setting learning-oriented goals, such as mastering a new tool, improving a specific skill, or increasing efficiency in your role. Regularly reflect on feedback, and instead of viewing it as criticism, look for ways it can help you grow. Surround yourself with people who inspire growth, mentors, colleagues, or even podcasts and books that challenge your perspectives. Embrace failure as part of the learning process. Every setback is a stepping stone toward improvement. By viewing your career as a journey rather than a destination, you'll be more open to new experiences and resilient when facing obstacles.
How can I handle work-related anxiety?
Work-related anxiety is common, and managing it begins with identifying the sources of stress. Break down tasks into manageable parts and focus on completing one step at a time to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Establish a pre-work routine, such as a few minutes of mindfulness or deep breathing, to center yourself. Setting realistic goals and managing expectations also help reduce anxiety. Communicate with your manager if you feel overwhelmed and discuss possible adjustments or support they can provide. Practicing self-care outside of work is essential, so make time for activities that help you unwind, such as exercise, hobbies, or socializing. Remember, taking short breaks throughout the day can reset your focus and reduce stress levels, helping you approach your work more calmly.
How do I keep my skills sharp after being in a role for a long time?
Staying sharp in a long-term role requires proactive effort. Begin by identifying areas where new skills or knowledge could be beneficial, either for your current role or for future opportunities. Take advantage of professional development programs offered by your company or seek external courses, webinars, or certifications that interest you. Challenge yourself by volunteering for new projects or responsibilities outside of your usual tasks. Networking within your company or industry can also expose you to fresh ideas. Staying up to date with industry trends and news allows you to see where your skills may need updating. Continuous learning keeps your skills relevant and opens up new possibilities within your role or beyond.
How do I approach setting work boundaries with a manager who expects availability 24/7?
Setting boundaries respectfully starts with communicating your availability. Explain your preferred working hours and be clear about when you'll be offline. If necessary, reassure your manager that you'll meet deadlines and provide updates as needed. You can also adjust your email settings to delay sending messages or avoid checking work emails outside of designated hours. If your manager's expectations are unrealistic, consider discussing the impact on your productivity and well-being. Approach the conversation with solutions, such as suggesting designated check-in times or proposing a protocol for emergencies.